ERASER by Kim Godfrey. Teaser, fade in. Interior, decrepit room, night. Two men sit face to face on a pair of steel chairs, their faces masked beneath black sacks. One takes rapid, anxious breaths, the other does not. One is restrained by cable ties, the other is not.
How does it work?
We locate the memory, identify the source of trauma, and erase it.
They are linked together by a pair of thin white wires that emerge from their masks. The wires run from both men, rising to a fold-out table between them. They meet at a small metallic box. A lone dial and switch characterize the simple device.
Does it hurt?
Not for long.
The box is a centerpiece to a room filled with speakers and electronic equipment, like a stage prepped for a band. A video camera sits atop a tripod, capturing the restrained man's every tremble, every breath.
But it'll work, right?
It always works.
A third man observes the rapid breather with intense focus. 23, slim, handsome. A disheveled shirt and tie that matches untamed wavy brown hair. Exhausted, yet determined. He is the image of an office worker nearing the end of a 15-hour day. He is Lucas Kersh.
You ready?
The restrained man replies with an uncertain nod.
Good luck.
Kersh flicks the switch on the metallic box. The restrained man's rapid breathing is silenced by a high-pitched frequency that erupts from several large speakers circling the three men. Kersh removes a small remote from his pocket and slowly turns its dial. The piercing sound rises and falls as he adjusts it. The restrained man's hands fight against the cable ties that bind him. He lets out a scream amid his desperate struggle. The other masked man sits silent, motionless. Kersh wipes the sweat from his brow, focused, determined. The frequency goes lower. Another desperate scream. Lower. Fists clench. A violent growl.
Please! Please!
Lower.
Stop!
Kersh rips the black sack off the man's face. Interior, decrepit room, day. Unmasked, he opens his eyes. The sudden intrusion of daylight now illuminates him. Toby Marsh, late 30s, a skeletal man with a ghostly face, aged beyond his years. Beneath terrified eyes, a small birthmark characterizes his right cheek. He takes in his surroundings. The room is completely empty, but for the man who sits opposite him, Michael Green, 21, remains still and silent. Long blonde hair gives way to a pair of timid blue eyes.
There's a door behind you, Toby.
Toby's eyes search the room for the voice. Nothing. His attention is drawn to a tall, rotting door that stands behind him. It stands tall, yet against no wall.
You're scared of this door because you know what's behind it.
Toby watches it, transfixed.
There's a memory behind that door.
Toby looks back to Michael with desperation. Michael ignores him, his attention on the door, a growing fear in his eyes.
Go to the door, Toby. Go to it now.
Realizing he is no longer restrained, Toby rises from his chair. He takes several apprehensive steps and raises a shaky hand to the rusty doorknob.
Don't be scared, Toby. You're not alone this time.
Toby looks back to Michael, who offers him a quick, reassuring nod, his face struggling to hide his own fear.
Open the door, Toby. Go inside.
Toby takes a deep breath. He opens the door. Eyes widen in horror. He sees something we cannot. He enters. Exterior, suburban street, day. An aged red sedan drives along an empty suburban road. Interior, sedan, driving, continuous. A young boy, 5, gazes out the window, his right cheek characterized by a small birthmark. He is a much younger Toby. Smoke fumes flow gently toward his face.
I'd let you sit up here, but it's not good for your lungs.
Toby glimpses the man through the rear-view mirror. Cold eyes look upon him with unnerving interest. The car comes to a halt at a red light. Toby's hand rises to the passenger door handle.
Don't bother. Safety locked.
Toby's hand pulls at the handle, to no avail. The smoking man digs around in his glove box.
You don't have to be scared of me, okay? I'm not going to hurt you. How could I? You're beautiful.
The smoking man watches the boy again via the rearview mirror. Eyes still linger with unsettling admiration. The glove box search ends as the smoking man finds his buried treasure, a chocolate bar. He waves it at the young boy.
You be a good boy, and I'll reward you. You try and run away, you scream. I'll have no choice but to punish you.
Smoking man tosses the bar into Toby's lap. Interior, decrepit room, night. The room is now silent. Kersh wipes sweat from Toby's forehead. He pants heavily, the occasional spasm contained by cable ties. A man trapped in a nightmare. Kersh draws a stopwatch from his pocket. It reads 1 minute, 12 seconds. His attention turns to Michael. Michael remains still, a seemingly peaceful state of unconsciousness. His right hand trembles. Interior, decrepit room, day. Michael watches the open door apprehensively. He looks down to his right hand, which now grips a Glock 22. Michael rises from his chair. Interior, sedan, day. Toby cries.
Well, don't be like that. I'm going to get you home real soon. We just need to make a quick stop on the way.
Toby's crying continues.
What did I tell you about misbehaving? You keep carrying on like that and I'll have to...
Toby goes quiet, his attention now drawn to the passenger seat beside him.
Good.
Smoking man notices Toby's turn of attention. He adjusts the rear view mirror accordingly. The mirror turns to Michael, who now sits beside Toby. Michael raises his handgun to the back of the smoking man's head.
Who the fuck?
Blam! Interior, decrepit room, night. Michael awakens with a jump. He gasps for air as he takes in his surroundings.
You held your breath again.
Michael reorients himself as Kersh cuts the cable ties from Toby, who now sits quiet and still, a peaceful slumber.
2 minutes, 3 seconds. That's an improvement.
Michael moves to rise, but buckles, his body still adjusting.
The
Kersh hands him a glass of water.
The memory.
Like he said, guy in a car, smoking.
Well done.
Kersh grabs a timer that sits atop a nearby speaker, twists it, and places it on the table. It starts clicking at 1 second intervals. The timer reads 60 minutes. Kersh stands behind an unconscious Toby. He places a reassuring hand on the masked man's shoulder.
When the clicking stops, you'll awake. You will leave this place and begin your life anew. When the clicking stops, you'll awake.
Kersh's hand leaves the masked man's shoulder. Click, 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 click. The timer stops. The black sack springs to life as its host regains consciousness. 2 shaky hands remove it. Disoriented, a blurry-eyed Toby takes in his surroundings. The room is empty. He is alone. Confused, Toby looks down at his hands at the last remaining trace, a black sack. End teaser. Act 1. Interior, UCLA Lecture Theater, day. Amid a half-filled class of smartphone addicts, Kersh watches Dr. Olivia Kelly, 35, deliver her lecture with mild interest.
How do we retain memories? How do we store them? How do we recall them?
Dr. Kelly paces her small stage, dark hair in a tight bun, designer glasses above confident eyes. This woman knows her worth.
We still lack definitive answers, for the science of the mind is still very much in its infancy.
She throws a pen into the lap of a sleeping student who springs to life.
Yet, Amid all this mystery, one question continues to build considerable momentum within the field of cognitive psychology. How do we erase memories?
A PowerPoint slide illuminates the whiteboard behind her. It depicts a team of several doctors surrounding a woman who sits on a hospital bed. The head doctor holds a pair of electrodes against the patient's temples. She bites down on a mouth guard.
Electroconvulsive therapy, ECT, or electroshock therapy, as it was traditionally known.
A wave of hands raise as curiosity grows.
I see I'm not yet completely incapable of holding your interest. Who can tell me how ECT works?
Silence.
Brain zapping.
Laughter.
On a primitive level, yes. Would anyone care to elaborate?
Oscar, 20, smug face, waxed hair, raises a hand.
Electrically induced seizures are applied in timed intervals. Multiple administrations have been shown to help relieve psychiatric illnesses, schizophrenia, severe depression, catatonia, but there's no proof to suggest it can erase memories.
Then why are we discussing it, Mr. Vaughn?
Oscar shrugs. Silence fills the room. Dr. Kelly scans for a respondent. Her eyes stop on...
Lucas, perhaps you can enlighten us.
All eyes fall upon Kersh, who doodles away on a notepad, unfazed by the sudden attention.
Marian Krees, a Dutch neuroscientist. He and a team conducted an experiment on 42 patients in 2013. Using strategically timed ECT bursts, Krees believed that they could target and remove a specific negative memory by application of a theory called memory reconsolidation.
Oscar watches Kersh with familiar resentment. Dr. Kelly offers 3 claps. Kersh remains focused on his sketch, a rough drawing of a hooded being.
Absolutely mind-numbing delivery, Mr. Kersh, but yet again you never cease to amaze. The result?
The lecture theater doors open. In enters Julian Pierce, 28. Deep blue eyes ignore the adoration of his female peers. He is the living, breathing image of a typical teenage heartthrob, cut out of a trashy gossip magazine and stuck upon a young girl's wall for daily worship. Julian takes a front row seat and offers Dr. Kelly a casual smile.
New guy, Mr. Pierce, Julian Pierce.
She returns a smile.
A strong first impression, Mr. Pierce. You're late.
Fashionably, I hope.
The female audience react with shameless giggles. Dr. Kelly does not.
Don't make a habit of it. Mr. Kersh, please continue to captivate.
Kersh's eyes stay transfixed on his notepad as he sketches. A series of rough, dark lines cover the creature's face.
Memory reconsolidation proposes that every time we access a memory, it's taken out of mental storage. In this state of recall, it was suggested that the accessed memory was vulnerable to modification, perhaps even erasure.
You sound skeptical. Was it not a success?
The experiment tested an immediate memory that all 42 patients were exposed to, a slideshow depicting disturbing imagery. Krees succeeded at disrupting their ability to recall the memory by applying timed ECT at the point of vulnerability. Impressive as it is, every patient was able to recall the memory 90 minutes later. A superficial memory with no personal relevance, no long-term manifestation.
Still sketching, the roughly drawn lines now appear to be a mask made of sticks.
Had they permanently removed something deeply seated, something traumatic and personal to the patient, I'd call it a success.
Silence.
Jesus Christ, lighten up.
Laughter. Kersh ignores the jab, transfixed on his creation, a stick mask covering a ghostly entity. The image is somewhat disturbing, something a child might dream up in a nightmare.
Very good, Lucas. Very good.
Dr. Keller's attention returns to the lecture. Oscar lingers on Kersh, bitter envy.
A small step though it may be, this particular experiment with ECT offers us a glimpse at what may one day be possible. Memory erasure.
What about hypnotic removal?
Faces rise from laptops and smartphones as the room becomes fully captivated upon hearing these two words. For the first time, Kersh lowers his pad. His eyes find the back of Julian's head, curiously watching.
What about it?
Please stop me if I missed the conversation, but was hypnotic removal not the first successful foray into memory erasure?
Dr. Kelly shows a hint of annoyance. Aware of the sudden influx of attention, she manages a smile.
Hypnotic removal was no more than a barbaric science experiment. The modern lobotomy.
Julian returns a playful smile.
But it worked, right? 7 U.S. Marines who fought in the invasion of Panama had traumatic memories completely wiped in the early 90s. PTSD, gone in a couple of minutes.
Dr. Kelly studies Julian.
It would appear you have competition, Mr. Kersh. It is true that 7 subjects had traumatic experiences removed, but can you tell your admirers what happened to the other 14 soldiers involved in the test?
They died.
Silence.
Correct. But first, they suffered immense pain, violent seizures, heart attacks, internal bleeding of the brain.
Still, 7 people.
7 too few.
When the Japanese invented and tested the technology,
When the Japanese first tested the technology, they killed 28 subjects, only 2 survived, an even worse result.
She takes a moment to savor her victory.
The Wiper Project, as they refer to it, was immediately outlawed after the U.S. military attempted their own modified yet doomed experiment. The technology was universally banned, with further experimentation being considered a violation of human rights. So, no, I don't consider hypnotic removal to be the first successful foray into memory erasure, Mr. Pierce.
my mistake.
Dr. Kelly studies him a moment longer.
Let's suppose this. Hypnotic removal worked, or Crow's experimentation with timed ECT. What if we could remove memories safely and successfully from those suffering trauma, PTSD, severe depression? What about the ethical considerations of this practice?
She returns to a methodical pacing of the lecture room floor, capitalizing on the full attention of her students. Every student follows her with their eyes. Every student but Kersh, whose gaze lingers on the back of Julian's head.
How do we decide who receives the treatment and who does not? Who decides? Psychiatrists? The sufferers? As we enter this new, exciting age of technological innovation, where we may one day have the capabilities to erase specific damaging memories, one question continues to plague me. A question we should all consider.
Dr. Kelly comes to a stop. Her eyes fall on Kersh.
If we are shaped by our memories, if we grow and learn from them, for better or worse, what else do we stand to lose by removing them?
Exterior, UCLA staff car park, night. Dr. Kelly walks through an almost empty car park. She fumbles through her handbag for a set of keys. An expensive Mercedes-Benz purrs to life via keyless ignition. She enters. Interior, Mercedes, continuous. Dr. Kelly closes the door. The cold, metallic barrel of a Colt .45 pushes up against the back of her head. Dr. Kelly lets out a terrified squeal and slowly raises 2 shaky hands in submission.
Not a sound, bitch.
The gun digs further into the back of her skull, forcing her head against the steering wheel.
You start this car without a key. Fucking future, huh?
Take it. It's yours.
I don't want this faggot car.
I have money. I can get you...
Oh, sweetheart, I'm afraid you can't buy your way out of this.
Please, don't.
Click. The sound of an empty chamber. Dr. Kelly gasps in horror before a familiar laugh breaks the tension. Cautiously, Dr. Kelly turns her head toward the intruder. Shock turns to rage as she looks upon the laughing man. Dominic O'Shea, early 30s, Irish, an ever-present flat hat sits atop a friendly face that masks a psychopath. He draws a cigarette from his jacket pocket.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself. Surrounded by serious fuckers all day. Gotta have a little fun now and then. Stop yourself going crazy.
He lights a cigarette and taps the window with his gun.
Best lower the window, Captain. Don't want to stink out your spaceship.
What the fuck are you doing here? You scared the shit out of me.
The window recedes as Dominic exhales.
I did, didn't I? Well, you wanted to talk, so here I am.
I asked to speak with Abraham and not at my workplace.
Well, you got me. And this ain't your work, Buttercup. It's a fucking car park.
Dr. Kelly searches in her bag and draws out a yellow paper note. She hands it to Dominic. Dominic scans the content with little interest.
The fuck is this?
2 students from my class. One of them, it's his home address.
And?
Dr. Kelly hesitates to answer.
You think I'm gonna help your hamsters with their little science experiment?
Another chuckle as he taps his cigarette.
You're not going to help him.
Dominic exhales. 2 green eyes watch her from behind a thick cloud of smoke. There is something very unsettling behind them. He smiles.
Stone cold.
A long silence as Dominic considers the request. Dr. Kelly watches him, masking anxiety.
He came to me. He can't handle it. He's scared.
You talk.
No, but he will. I know he will. He wants out.
Change his mind then.
It's not that easy. He feels guilty. Sooner or later, he'll talk.
Dominic takes another draw and calmly considers the situation.
Abe's gonna love this. I ain't ever had to kill a guy I vouched for. 6 weeks and you're calling him a hit.
Thugs. You deal with common street thugs. I'm in the market for students. They're a more fragile breed.
And now your little business venture's got one of them spooked, huh? Exploring nightmares? Scary stuff.
It's a little more complex than that.
Bit too much for a thug like me to understand, huh?
Dr. Kelly goes silent, hesitant to provoke him further in their current situation.
Well, you're right. I don't understand. I don't understand why Abe would let some stuck-up academic cunt work with us. I don't understand why he'd let a couple of her teenage fucking crybabies come along, too.
Dominic flicks the ash from his cigarette.
But that doesn't matter. For whatever reason, unbeknown to me, Abe seems to think you're some value to our organization. Not sure how valuable you're going to be after this.
You'll understand.
Well, let's hope so.
Dominic chuckles, slides the paper note into his jacket pocket, and exits the car. Dr. Kelly takes a sigh of relief and reverses. As she spins the wheel to accelerate, Dominic taps against her window. Hesitantly, Dr. Kelly drops the window. Dominic leans in against the frame.
Something else?
You're swimming with the sharks now.
Holds up the paper note.
And this? This is blood.
Your point?
You fuck up again. I'll put 2 in the back of your skull and paint your windscreen red.
Dr. Kelly holds face.
Terrifying. Now get off my car.
Dominic laughs and steps away.
Drive safe, Doc.
Dr. Kelly makes her way up the exit ramp. She nervously checks her rearview mirror. Dominic watches the car. Cold eyes, warm smile. End of Act 1. Act 2. Interior Psychiatric Clinic Day. Kersh sits at the reception desk, scanning a handful of prescriptions. Beth, a drug-dependent client in her 40s, taps her fingers impatiently against his desk as she watches him with frustration.
Ceramidol, olanzapine, Prozac, codeine, benzodiazepine, Xanax. Quite the cocktail.
An irritated yet determined Beth dismisses his sarcasm.
It's supposed to be 7 milligrams dosage. But he only wrote down 5 milligrams.
What's supposed to be a 7 milligram dosage?
The benzo, the Xanax.
Kersh pauses, takes a moment to consider.
Dr. Levenstein recommended a 7 milligram dosage in addition to the rest of these?
It's supposed to be 7 milligrams. He made a mistake.
Kersh smiles and returns her scripts.
Evidently. Please take a seat. The doctor will be out shortly. He's just with...
Kersh is interrupted as Dr. Levenstein's office door bursts open. A young woman in her early 20s rushes for the exit.
Excuse me, ma'am?
She turns at the door. Dark tangles of black hair shelter two hurt blue eyes. Lucas watches, transfixed.
Do you need to make another appointment?
No response. She exits, slamming the door behind her. Dr. Levenstein enters the room exhausted.
Don't ask Luke.
Mrs. Myers is here to see you about a prescription underdose. Sorry, you gave her the wrong dosage for a Xanax script?
It's supposed to be 7 milligrams. You owe 5.
Ushers her in.
My mistake, Beth.
Beth follows the doctor in. Kersh looks at the office clock. 2:36 p.m. His attention returns to his desktop computer, where he peruses the day's appointment listing. His finger slides down the list till it stops on Matilda Weathers, 2:15 p.m.
Hello, Matilda.
Interior, Michael's bedroom, day. Michael lies on a single bed in a small, modest bedroom. Absent-minded, his eyes linger on the ceiling. A cell phone lights up beside him. The intrusion goes unnoticed. The screen reads, "Incoming call, Lucas." The piercing scream of the household smoke alarm erupts down the hallway, forcing Michael to action. He rushes out. Interior, Michael's kitchen, continuous. Michael darts for the kitchen stove, reaching for a heavily burnt, smoke-exhaling pot. After turning off the element, he grabs hold of the pot handle, a painful shout as he drops it onto the floor. He cradles his burnt hand, eyes scanning the room till they fall on a frail, confused woman, late 40s, sheltering in the corner of the kitchen, shaky arms wrapped around bony knees. Timid eyes peer up at him. She is Lydia Green, Michael's mother. He comes to her aid, checking for injury.
I'm sorry, what did I do?
Nothing, Ma. It's okay. You were just boiling water.
Lydia tears up.
I could have burnt the house down.
Michael places a reassuring hand on his mother's cheek.
It's fine, Ma. Everyone's okay.
She watches him with adoration.
You're such a strong young man. I'm so proud of you, Michael.
Lydia goes silent, unable to finish her sentence.
It's okay, Ma. Just the relapse. It'll pass. It always does. You just need to be strong.
Exterior, Dr. Kelly's house, day. Dr. Kelly exits the 3-story modern masterpiece she calls home. Marcus Young, late 50s, with a face far older, but a build that would intimidate men half his age, waits at the front gate. Tired eyes watch her.
Shit. Don't you people use cell phones?
Abe wants to see you. Now.
You'll have to wait. I have a class to teach, in case you forgot. I'm a lecturer, not a lapdog.
Dr. Kelly passes Marcus in a hurried rush. He watches as she digs through a designer handbag for car keys. Marcus takes a few casual steps up to Dr. Kelly. He pauses feet from her, allowing a moment's silence to make his dominance clear.
Can I ask you something?
I suppose.
You ever been pistol whipped?
Dr. Kelly stops, searching for the keys. Exterior, cafe, day. Kersh sits at the cafe dining table, cell phone to ear, listening to the repetitive ringing of an unanswered call. It cuts to voicemail. He takes a quick side glance for unwanted attention.
It's me, again. You weren't in class yesterday. Look, I know this hasn't been easy for you, but you need to talk to me. We're a team.
Matilda takes a seat opposite him. Kersh gives her a nervous smile, momentarily lost.
Please, just call me.
He
Thanks.
hangs up.
You must really want me to make that appointment.
Thank you for coming.
She studies him.
Who are you?
My name is Lucas Kersh. I'm no one, really.
Matilda grabs a sachet of white sugar from the table and starts rolling up the ends.
I thought you were a receptionist.
That's true. It's an internship, not a very good one.
Dr. Levenstein isn't working out for you either.
She reaches for another sugar sachet, repeating the process. Kersh observes.
Levenstein's a good guy, he just lacks passion. Don't get me wrong, he's very knowledgeable. It's just hard to get hands-on experience in an industry that thrives on doctor-patient confidentiality.
So you're stuck on reception?
His telecommunications liaison.
She stops rolling the sachet and eyes Kersh with suspicion.
He sent you here?
If the doctor knew I was meeting you, he'd fire me.
What do you want then?
To help.
She begins working on a third sachet.
And how would a telecommunications liaison help me?
Kersh watches her roll the sachet with curiosity.
Do you always do that?
Matilda looks down to her hands, oblivious.
Sorry, it's a habit. I didn't even realize I was...
I make you nervous, don't I?
Kersh grabs a sachet and begins rolling the ends.
Do all men make you nervous?
Matilda pushes the rolled sachet aside, uncomfortable.
Why do you think I need your help?
Because I read your client record.
Embarrassed and enraged, Matilda rises from the table and starts walking away.
Don't contact me again.
I can erase it. The memory.
She stops.
No drugs, no therapy.
She turns back to him. He casually fiddles with the sachet.
What?
No drugs, no therapy. Gone. Instant.
She watches him with expected skepticism.
There's always drugs. Always therapy.
He smiles confidently.
Not with this.
She takes a seat.
What do you do?
Kersh finishes rolling the ends of his sachet and places it on the table.
Can you keep a secret?
Interior, Michael's bedroom, day. Michael types away at his keyboard, headphones blasting away at a damaging level. A wisp of smoke flows past him. He smells it. Headphones off. No smoke alarm.
Not again.
He makes for the kitchen. Interior hallway continuous. Michael eyes the smoke detector as he rushes for the kitchen. It is lifeless. Interior kitchen continuous. Michael enters the kitchen. The stove is switched off. He scans the room till his eyes fall on the culprit. By the kitchen table, the smoking man sits side on, gazing out the window. Cigarette in hand, he exhales. He turns his head to Michael, masked by a cloud of smoke. Michael cannot find his voice. The smoke clears, revealing a gunshot hole that runs right through the smoking man's forehead, the wallpaper visible through the bloody hole. Interior, Michael's bedroom, day. Michael jumps back in his chair, cold sweat, trembling. He collects himself. Just a bad dream. Exterior, Cormac's Club, day. Marco parks his Honda Accord opposite the club. He exits and opens the passenger door. Dr. Kelly looks up at the club with dread. She remains seated.
If I were going to kill you, do you really think I'd do it here? Get out of the car.
She exits unconvinced. Interior, Cormac's Club, continuous. Dr. Kelly follows Marcus through a dusty, deserted nightclub. 2 employees silently clean up the aftermath of the previous night. Dominic sits by the bar, fiddling with his lighter.
And so he returns.
Marcus ignores him, continuing to the back office. Dominic follows. Interior, Cormac's office, continuous. Amid a large yet underutilized space, Abraham Cormac, 60s, sits at an office table, snacking on a bowl of potato wedges while watching NFL on a small decade-old television. A bowl of salad sits untouched beside his meal. Stocky but bordering on fat, balding but not bald, a graying beard and chest hair to match. He looks like a pissed-off, half-shed bear. Marcus and Dr. Kelly stand silent. Dominic lingers at the door. The television comes to life as a stadium erupts in celebration. Cormac does not share in the revel.
Fucking useless.
He flicks it off, consumes another wedge, and watches Dr. Kelly silently until he finishes.
Doctor, so sorry for the language. I'm just a little agitated. See, Genius over there gave me a tip that I was stupid enough to follow, and now I'm 5 large in the red.
Seahawks are a good team.
I asked for an excuse.
Dominic goes silent. He knows his place.
Go help Jasmine with the stock count. We gotta talk.
I'm not doing that shit. Marcus can.
Marcus shoves Dominic out of the doorway and closes it behind him. He leans back against the door.
Asshole!
Feisty fucker, that. I used to be like that. Impulsive, reckless, real risk taker. Guess that's why I took the bet, huh?
Dr. Kelly listens with silent apprehension.
Trying to hold on to that last aspect of my youth, my fault, not his. What the fuck does an Irish know about sport anyway, huh?
His attention returns to his guest. She is noticeably uncomfortable.
Over the years, I got old. I got fat, cynical, and paranoid. I've become cautious. I like to play it safe now. That's why I force myself to eat this shit.
He lifts a lettuce leaf from the salad bowl and eyes it with contempt.
Make calculated moves.
He munches away at the leaf unsatisfied.
Then you avoid risk. Then you avoid exposure.
If this is about the...
Abraham slams a clenched fist against the table. Dr. Kelly submits in silence. Abraham composes himself.
When you came to me with your proposition, your brain tinkering shit, you told me it would be a risk-free venture. But now...
Abraham opens a drawer and reaches for something. Dr. Kelly watches anxiously. Abraham pulls out the yellow paper note.
I get this. And it gets me thinking, maybe this little venture of yours, maybe it ain't so risk-free.
He crumbles the note in his hand.
May I talk now?
Sure.
I fucked up. I'm human. I thought he could handle it. I was wrong. But if we don't act soon, he'll talk.
Abraham turns to Marcus with an amused grin.
They're perfect. Ain't that what she said?
Marcus offers a meager nod.
He was, or so I thought. But going into those memories, doing what they do, it takes a special breed. He seemed capable enough, but he's young. I miscalculated.
How young?
Dr. Kelly ignores him. Abraham chuckles.
Always the virtuous killer, this man.
Age is irrelevant. The situation demands immediate attention if we're to continue in this business. He needs to be removed.
Removed? Well, what do you think this is, fucking Sopranos? You give my guy a piece of paper with a name on it and he goes and whacks him like he's an everyday thing? Like there ain't no fucking consequences for your actions? That what you think this is?
That's exactly what I think this is. Because you're criminals.
She is done playing the fearful woman. She leans in towards the bear.
Now, if you're so concerned with risk, you'll stop wasting my time with the theatrics, send your monkeys out there and fix this.
Listen, you brought these two.
Dr. Kelly raises a finger to silence him, the same way she would a disruptive student. The bear goes silent, surprised by a gesture he is not accustomed to.
Aggressive expansion. We need to expand our operation while the market is still untapped. If we follow my business model, bring in more people, we can create a monopoly. And I don't mean the fucking board game.
Abraham appears trapped somewhere between amusement and rage.
Now, there are tens of thousands of fucked up people living in Los Angeles, hooked on prescription drugs and therapy, seeking an alternative solution. We are that solution. And for the right price, they can have it. Now you talk of risk aversion, yet you continue to focus your efforts on narcotics, an overcrowded market swarming with police. I offer you the keys to an operation without unwanted attention, without competition, infinite potential. Yet, you're too arrogant, too stupid to see that unless you act now, unless you fix this problem, it'll be over before it ever began. Now, are you going to do something about this? Or will I be forced to endure the second act of your performance?
All eyes on Abraham. He ponders his response.
Got a big cock for a woman. Keep your cool, Doc. We were always going to fix it. I just wanted to rustle your feathers a little.
You've succeeded.
Abraham places his index finger on the paper note.
Problem is, there's only one name on this paper. I need two.
Dr. Kelly's relief turns to confusion.
But only one.
Only one poses a threat, I heard you. But clearly you didn't ask me when I said I don't take risks. You kill one, you spook the other. Suddenly he realizes the fragility of his situation.
He won't go to the police.
I know he won't.
Abraham pushes the paper note forward.
Both names. And forget about home addresses. We do this somewhere isolated. We do this where they're together. When's their next job?
End of Act 2. Act 3. Interior, UCLA Student Bar Night. Michael and Kersh sit opposite one another at a booth. Michael stares blankly into a glass of untouched beer that sits before him. Kersh finishes his own while glancing around for anyone in earshot.
Tomorrow night.
He observes his distant, unresponsive companion with concern.
Mike?
Mike looks up bedazzled, as if rudely awoken from a dream.
I said tomorrow night.
Back to reality.
Tomorrow? No. No, it's too soon. It's only been 4 days since Toby.
We need to push it, Mike. We're making real progress, and this girl...
Girl? No, it's always been men.
Sex is irrelevant. Look, it took 2 months to find Toby. If we pass on this, who knows how long till we find another opportunity.
How are you so sure it won't be different for her? How can you risk...
Risk? There is no risk, Michael. I've spent more time than you can imagine researching and perfecting this technique.
But we've only used men. The military experiments only used men.
And their experiments were a failure. But they failed for 2 reasons. Either the eraser spent longer than 3 minutes in the subject's memory, or the subject overdosed on the trauma stimulant ibenzadrine.
Michael's index finger circles the rim of his glass.
We use a lighter, modified dose of ibenzadrine, and we don't take longer than 3 minutes.
So you haven't taken the time. You don't know her. She might talk.
You're right. I don't know her. But I met her. And I know what happened to her. She needs our help, Mike. She needs your help.
Michael drinks deep, readying himself.
I can't.
She won't talk.
No. I can't do this anymore.
Kersh rubs his eyes, exhausted, frustrated.
What do you mean?
It's too much. We've done it 4 times now, and each time it's worse.
We've succeeded 4 times, Michael. That's a 100% success rate. Do you not understand the significance of that? No one has ever achieved what we have.
How long before it changes? How long before we hurt someone?
We follow my method, no one gets hurt.
Michael shakes his head. He is not convinced.
I'm losing my mind, Luke.
Michael takes another swig of his drink.
When I'm in there, it's real.
None of it's real, Mike. It's a projection of the unconscious mind. That's all, a memory.
You have no idea. You're not the one who goes in. Everything I see, everything I touch, the kill. It's real to me. And I can't do it anymore. I won't. I'm sorry.
Kersh eyes the bar, suppressing rage.
I would gladly take your place, Mike. I would. But you can't do what I can do. No one can.
Frustrated, he leaves the booth for another drink. Interior bar counter continuous. Kersh raises a hand for service. A heavily intoxicated man stumbles up beside him. It is Oscar, Kersh's begrudging classmate.
The fuck you doing in a place like this?
Kersh pays him no attention, trying to maintain his temper. Oscar clicks a finger in front of his face.
What do most people do at a bar?
I just figured you'd be home Googling your next speech for the doctor.
The bartender arrives. Kersh taps the top of his glass, signaling a refill. He ignores Oscar's provocation.
People think you're so smart, but you're not. And that erasing shit you talking about, Mike, you have no fucking idea, my friend. I've seen...
A young African-American man walks up beside his drunken friend. His name is Samuel, 22. He gives Kersh a friendly nod and places a hand on Oscar's shoulder, attempting to defuse the situation.
Let's get going. Big day tomorrow?
Oscar shrugs Samuel's hand off his shoulder.
In a minute. I'm just chatting with my buddy here.
I'm not your buddy.
The bartender returns. Kersh pays. Samuel monitors the pair, worried. Oscar grins and moves in close to Kersh.
How about I tell you a little something about memory erasure you can't read in a book?
Kersh's face turns to meet him. His eyes are different, blank.
How about I break this glass across your face?
Oscar pauses, stunned. Kersh stares him down.
No? Then fuck off.
Oscar, let's go.
Oscar nods, defeated.
You're fucking strange, man.
The pair exit. Interior, student bar continuous. The pair sit in silence. A recomposed Kersh pushes his beer to Michael.
Look, I know it's not easy for you. I've given you a very heavy burden. But we have an opportunity, a responsibility to do something incredible, Mike. Something that might one day change the lives of millions for the better. Something that no prescription drug or therapy session will ever do. So if you won't do it for them, for me, do it for Lydia.
Kersh draws a pamphlet from his pocket and holds it before Michael.
Your mother has progressive relapsing multiple sclerosis. She's dying. What I pay you covers the Tecfidera. $62,000 a year for a drug that slows the progression but doesn't stop it. But this might.
Hesitantly, Michael takes the pamphlet and scans its content.
Sabri had its first clinical trial at the Johns Hopkins MS Center last year. Patients are 6 months into a 1-year trial, and so far...
Michael drops the pamphlet, a hardened skeptic to the promise of miracle cures.
More false hope.
Not this! This isn't just another DMD that dulls the body's immune system. It reboots it. It doesn't slow the progression of the disease, it stops it.
Kersh pushes the pamphlet forward.
Intravenous injections administered at the center twice a month. 80 patients, all of whom experienced improvements. Fewer relapses, reduced disability, improvements with speech, vision. There's never been a result like this before.
Curiosity takes hold. Frustrated, Michael scans a pamphlet again, this time more thoroughly.
They're trialing the drug here in LA at the USC Keck School of Medicine. 60 openings. $120,000 for the 12-month trial.
Even if you're right, I don't have that kind of money.
But I do. You give me 12 sessions. 1 a month. 1 year. I can have the money in your account tomorrow.
Michael eyes Kersh with a mix of suspicion and resentment.
How long have you been waiting to play this hand?
What do you mean?
You knew about this trial, and instead of telling me, you waited to use it as an ultimatum?
It's not like that, Mike.
Then how long have you known?
Michael holds the pamphlet up. Now Kersh eyes it.
Whatever I say, you've already made your judgment.
Always have a plan B, don't you?
Suppose I do.
Kersh and Michael watch one another, silently attempting to decipher the inner workings of the other's mind.
So, tomorrow night?
Michael drains his beer. He lingers on Kersh a moment longer.
Tomorrow night.
Interior, UCLA Student Library night. Nicole, 21, sits daydreaming at the student services desk. Lost in her own thoughts, she is oblivious to the arrival of a young man.
Hello.
She snaps back to reality. Her face goes red as she puts a face to the voice. An infectious smile spread across his face. Julian eyes Nicole, a deep stare through dark blue eyes.
Hi. Hello.
Nicole lets out a nervous giggle. Julian chuckles.
Can I help you with anything?
I sure hope so.
Looking for a book?
Looking for a friend. I'm new here. I met a guy who offered to show me around, but I lost his number. I'm supposed to meet him in 20 minutes, but I can't call. Think you can help me out?
No, I'm sorry, but I can't give you student information. It's a confidentiality thing. It's stupid.
Oh, that's a real shame.
His eyes do not blink. Above a cool smile, they watch her with heated intensity, baiting her.
I was hoping after I met up with him that maybe you could come get a drink with us.
You want to have a drink with me?
Well, of course I do. But I understand if you can't do anything.
Nicole takes a breath. Impulse overrides logic.
I guess you can't tell anyone I did this.
Our little secret.
Nicole forces her attention away from his captivating stare and back to her computer.
Okay, so what's your new friend's name?
Lucas Kersh.
Nicole types away at her keyboard. She grabs a post-it note and writes down a phone number. Julian glances at the screen curiously.
You think I can get the address too?
Nicole pauses, slight suspicion.
What do you need his address for?
Well, maybe I want to send him a little thank you gift.
Hypnotic eyes trap her again. She reciprocates the grin and writes down the address. She hands it to him. Julian keeps his focus on her as he pockets the note.
You're a real sweetheart. Think I could push my luck and get your number too?
Another nervous giggle. Nicole starts scribbling down her own number.
I finish up here in...
She looks up, confused. Julian is gone. Interior, Kersh's apartment night. Kersh sits at his study, scribbling notes as he watches the video recording of his previous erasure session via laptop. On screen, Kersh holds an eyedropper above a yet-to-be-masked Toby. 3 drops into his right eye. Then Kersh places a black sack over his head. Within seconds, Toby's breathing grows increasingly rapid. His head makes a couple of random violent jerks as the drug kicks in. Kersh's writing hand goes still. His eyes move from the screen to a small vial beside the laptop. Its transparent contact marked with a plain label that reads, Ibenzadream. He forces his attention back to the video. After a few more seconds watching his masked client grow increasingly volatile, he shuts the laptop screen. His attention returns to the vial before him. Interior bathroom, continuous. Kersh holds the eyedropper above his right eye. Drip, drip, drip. He rubs his eye, takes a deep breath, and leans back against the bathroom wall. He grabs the rubber ball from the floor and throws it against the gap between the bathroom door and the ceiling. Thump. He catches the ball and repeats the motion several times. Thump, thump, thump. In the blink of an eye, a ghostly, veiled entity passes the doorway. Covered in a long white cloak, its face hidden behind a mask of sticks. It is the creature Kersh was sketching earlier. Kersh catches the ball, his eyes on the doorway, a deep breath. He returns his attention to the ball. Thump, 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 thump. The sound of impact, but not from the ball. Kersh holds it and listens. Thump, thump, thump. The distant sound of someone knocking echoes down the hallway. Kersh rises from the floor. We see something in his eyes as he looks upon the doorway. Fear. Interior hallway, continuous. Kersh takes 2 cautious steps out of the bathroom and stares down the hall towards the source of commotion. He looks down to his bedroom. The door slowly creaks open. Thump, thump, thump. Slowly he makes his way down the hall, terrified, yet determined. Interior bedroom, continuous. Thump, thump, thump. Kersh stops at the entrance. He looks in, empty, his eyes fixated on the closet doors. Thump, thump, thump. Something waits for him within. Silence. Kersh looks on, terrified. He makes his decision and closes the door. Pitch black. Interior, Marcus's sedan day. Dominic yawns, taking in the early morning sun with utter disdain. He looks out the window to a lone house, old and seemingly abandoned. The surrounding overgrown shrubbery suggests it has been long forgotten. Dominic reclines his chair and draws a cigarette. He lights up, inhales, and closes his eyes. The driver door opens. Marcus takes a seat. He rips a cigarette from Dominic's mouth and throws it out the window.
Smoke outside.
Dominic adjusts his chair. Marcus turns the ignition.
Always the life of the party. So?
Eyes on the house.
Downstairs. There's power, no windows. That's where they'll be.
What's the plan, Napoleon?
Back door's jammed, front door's the only way in and out.
Piece of cake. When?
Marcus's eyes linger on the house.
Tonight.
Montage. Preparations. Kersh pulls up his black sedan along a line of identical storage containers. He exits the vehicle and double takes for observers. Michael sits in a crowded lecture theater, blank and oblivious. Marcus and Dominic sit at Abraham's bar. Marcus downs a shot. Dominic watches him in silent amusement while playing with his lighter. Kersh slides open the storage door, revealing a white van. The lecture ends. Students make their way out while Michael remains seated in silent contemplation. Oscar gives Dr. Kelly a smile on his way out. She reciprocates. In the back of the van, Kersh edges past various speakers and equipment, picking up a large briefcase. He opens it. Inside sits the strange metallic box first revealed in the previous erasure session. In a small, grubby bathroom, Dominic holds a blue mask imprinted with a white Mexican sugar skull. Its sinister grin mirrors his own. Shirtless, we observe a slim body marked by a violent past. Several scars illustrate his chest, arms, and back. Michael watches from the kitchen table as his mother and young sister prepare lunch together. Dr. Kelly sits back against a luxurious leather couch and flicks on her television, a glass of dark red wine in hand. Interior, decrepit room, night. Surrounded by speakers, wires, and various electronics, all centered around a table and two opposing chairs, Kersh adjusts his tie as he admires his DIY setup. There is an air of confidence to him. A knock echoes through the spacious, decrepit room. Kersh unlocks the door, and Michael enters.
Thanks for coming.
Michael responds with a half-hearted nod and sits down in one of the chairs, expressionless, eyes on the metallic box.
You okay?
Michael's eyes linger on the box.
Fine.
Exterior, Marcus's sedan, night. Dominic twirls a cigarette through his fingers impatiently as Marcus eyes the lit-up ground floor of the abandoned house.
All right.
He reaches under his chair and pulls out a balaclava.
Finally.
Dominic conceals himself beneath the Mexican skull mask. Marcus shakes his head.
What's wrong with a little creative flair?
Marcus conceals his face under the balaclava. He reaches for two 9mm handguns under his seat.
The point of the mask is anonymity.
Marcus hands Dominic one of the guns. He conceals it under his jacket.
Think of that.
Eyes
Now
on-
remember.
Yeah, don't damage the shiny box. Bring back the shiny box. I get it.
They're expecting a client, so we...
Knock. Poor bastards.
No bullshit this time. In and out.
You just sit back. I got this.
The pair exit the car. Interior, decrepit room, night. Knock, knock, knock. The thud of fist against wood echoes through the room. Kersh stops tinkering with one of the speakers and checks his wristwatch. Knock, knock, knock.
A little early.
Michael appears oblivious to the intrusive knocking.
Oh, don't trouble yourself.
He approaches the door. Exterior, doorway, night. Marcus looks back into the darkness behind them. No one. Dominic raises his pistol to the door. Interior, decrepit room night. Lucas takes deep breaths, composing himself with a confident smile. He opens the door. Matilda. End of Act 3. Act 4. Interior, abandoned house, night. The door opens. Samuel looks down the barrel of a gun. Shock, confusion. Behind it, a Mexican sugar skull with a sadistic grin. Blam! Point blank. Samuel's body falls back, motionless. The masked menace hops over his lifeless victim and strolls into the room. Marcus waits by the door, a single glance at the young, dead boy before returning his attention to the street. It is as dead as Samuel. Oscar stumbles back against the table behind him, terrified. His tormentor ignores him, taking in the scenery. The room is filled with equipment similar to Kersh's, yet with the addition of several tungsten lights standing tall on tripods that surround the room.
Oh, like a fucking sci-fi film, huh?
Oscar is unable to find his voice. He lets out a whimpered mutter as his eyes move from the corpse of his friend to the man who took his life. Dominic pulls a red permanent marker from his pocket and kneels down before the young man. He looks back to the doorway, making sure his partner isn't watching. He scribbles something on the floor with the red marker, something hidden from view. He rises from the floor, conceals the marker, and returns his attention to Oscar. Dominic takes a few steps up to the young man. Face to face, Oscar cowers, pinned between the table and the masked psychopath. The Mexican skull tilts to one side, like a curious dog. He observes Oscar's fear behind a wicked smile.
Hurry up.
Dominic ignores him. Oscar flinches as Dominic reaches for something on the table behind the young man. He picks up a small remote.
And what does this do?
He clicks a button. The tungsten lights come to life with a series of rapid flashes, turning the room into a silent rave party. Momentarily confused, Dominic spins around, gun raised. Realizing there is no threat, he cracks up with laughter.
Oh, you scared the shit out of me.
His attention returns to Oscar.
She said the black one was the squealer. Unlucky for you, friend.
Dominic aims his gun inches from Oscar's face. The young man is unable to find words.
Please, no.
Dominic hesitates for a moment.
Well, since you asked so nicely.
He lowers his aim. Blam! A cry of pain. Oscar collapses to the floor, grabbing at his knee in an agony as a pool of blood spreads beneath it.
I guess I can give you a couple more seconds.
Oscar lets out another desperate cry. Dominic kneels down beside him.
Dr. Kelly. Sold you off, I'm afraid. Same as your boy over there. Breaks my heart to be the messenger.
Dominic pushes the barrel of his 9mm against Oscar's temple.
Please. Please. You know, it's not the kill that gives me the kicks.
Dominic slowly and affectionately slides the barrel of the gun down Oscar's petrified face.
It's the look on your face.
He slides the barrel back up to Oscar's temple.
That moment when you realize this is inevitable, that this is fate.
Blam. A bullet pierces Oscar's skull, but not from Dominic's gun. Dominic leaps backward and turns his gun on Marcus, who already has him lined in his sight.
The fuck is wrong with you? You could have hit me!
I said quick, you sick fuck.
The pair stand off for a moment, guns raised.
What, you're gonna kill me?
I want to. I should. Drop it. We need to go. Now.
After a few tense seconds, Dominic submits and lowers his gun. He runs a gloved hand over his now blood-stained mask.
You ruined my fucking mask.
Marcus edges over to the metallic box and picks it up, his gun still on Dominic.
Out. Now.
Exterior, abandoned house, driveway continuous. The pair rush to the car. They cross the road when, bright light. The masked men freeze like deer trapped in headlights, illuminated by a car that screeches to a sudden halt before them. A young woman stares through her windshield, confusion turning to fear as she notices the blood-stained mask. Dominic raises his gun.
No!
Marcus pistol whips Dominic across the back of his head. Dominic drops, but not before pulling the trigger. Blam! The misdirected shot bursts through the windshield and hits the passenger seat. The young driver lets out a frantic scream and speeds off. Marcus puts his gun away and struggles back to their car, dragging an unconscious Dominic with one hand and the metallic box with the other. Interior, decrepit room, night. Knelt beside Matilda, Kersh tightens the cable tie to her left leg. Both arms and legs restrained to her chair. Wired pads running from her temples to the metallic box before her. Kersh gives an assuring smile.
I know it's a bit scary, but it's for your own safety. Trust me.
For the drug?
The benzodrine is an adrenaline stimulant that brings on trauma.
But how do you know it will bring up the memory?
It always does for those with specific traumatic memories. Nevertheless, I use hypnotic suggestion to ensure we target the right one.
She looks down to her constraints with great uncertainty, yet tries to muster confidence in front of her hosts. Kersh pulls a napkin from his pocket.
May I?
He gestures with the napkin. Matilda nods. Kersh wipes away sweat from her forehead. She is noticeably uncomfortable with human contact. Matilda turns her attention to the box. Kersh notices. He watches it with admiration. Matilda and Michael watch it with uncertainty.
Now that is the real masterpiece. A device that allows us to access your memories. The ability to sync both your minds so that Michael can not only observe, but interact.
Matilda looks ashamed at the idea of this stranger looking in on the darkest corners of her mind. Kersh notices.
I promise you, the next few minutes mean a whole new life.
No memories?
Erase the source memories, you erase all connected memories.
She forces a nod and the slightest smile. Kersh reciprocates with far more confidence. He collects the benzodrine and fills the eyedropper.
Ready?
Matilda nods. Drip, drip, drip.
You'll start feeling the effects momentarily. Embrace it. It won't last long.
Kersh wanders off. Matilda takes a few deep breaths, her eyes finally meeting Michael's. He gives her a faint smile as he adjusts the wired pads to his temples.
So you're the one that sees it? The memory?
Michael adjusts himself, uncomfortable with the sudden interaction.
Yeah.
The man? He's my father.
Michael does not know how to respond.
I'm sorry.
Matilda starts breathing heavily, the drug taking effect.
I thought maybe you should know.
Heavier, rapid breaths, her hands clench.
You'll be okay. Lucas, he's a good person. Don't be scared.
Kersh returns, 2 black sacks in hand. He passes one to Michael.
What is that? What are you doing?
Removing the visual sensory makes synchronization between yourself and Michael far more effective.
He raises the black sack above her head. She tilts her neck away. Kersh pauses.
Do you trust me, Matilda?
She looks up at him, then to Michael. She nods. Her timid face is covered. Heavy breathing. Clenched fists begin to tremble. Panic. Lucas moves to the metallic box on the table and places a finger on the switch.
A few minutes, then it's all over. Good luck.
Michael takes a final look at their trembling client and covers his own face. Michael, POV, pitch black. Kersh flicks the switch. A high-pitched frequency erupts through the surrounding speakers. Michael breathes. Matilda lets out a shriek, then a scream. Michael breathes. The frequency drops. Matilda screams. Michael breathes. Lower frequency, more screams. Pitch black, silence.
Open the door, Matilda.
Exterior, Matilda's home day. Before Michael stands a small house with a white picket fence. Michael watches it apprehensively. There is something unsettling about it. He raises a hand to the front gate. It creaks open before he can touch it. He freezes. The time is ticking. Interior, decrepit room, continuous. The black sack over her head. Matilda has calmed down considerably, her breathing steady. Hands clench the chair's arms. They still tremble. Kersh observes, confident. He turns to Michael and watches him, a flicker of guilt before he looks away. Michael is less calm than usual, heavy breathing, perspiring. Interior, entrance hall, continuous. The front door opens as Michael lets himself in, gun in hand. The house is bright, daylight trickling in through the windows. Michael takes a few steps before his attention is drawn to the wallpaper. Like an acid trip gone bad, the patterned print slowly slides down the walls. He moves to touch it when, ah! An unsettling scream echoes along the walls. Michael's head twists to the source, gun raised, down the hall. Interior, decrepit room, continuous. Kersh anxiously paces the room. He checks his wristwatch. 53 seconds. Interior hallway, continuous. His shaky Glock 22 held high. Michael continues down the hall to a door at the opposing end. A series of family photos hang from claustrophobic walls. Scanning the photos as he progresses down, he observes a much younger Matilda and two adults, her parents. He pauses, eyes drawn to a particular photo. In it, the father's eyes are pure black. As he moves in for a closer inspection, crack, the glass shatters within the frame. Ah! Another scream from behind the door. Michael tries hard to focus, continuing on as more framed photos shatter upon every step. His gun hand trembles. Fear takes full effect. He reaches the door. A child's alphabet stickers line the surface, spelling out Matilda. He places a hand on the knob and twists. Interior, decrepit room, continuous. Michael's heavy breathing ceases. He holds his breath apprehensively. Knelt beside him, Kersh watches. Interior, Matilda's bedroom, continuous. Michael's POV, the bedroom. The door opens. Matilda, 7, cowers in the corner, petrified. She is a stark contrast to her colorful, welcoming room. Michael enters, hiding his gun from the child before him, but her eyes watch something else. Interior, decrepit room, continuous. Matilda springs to life, head jerking violently as a scream erupts from beneath the sack. Interior, Matilda's bedroom, continuous. Tracing the young girl's line of sight, Michael spins around. Too late. Behind him, Matilda's father, pale, bald, pure black eyes. The amalgamation of a child's fear and a corrupted imagination. Terrified, Michael aims to fire, not fast enough. The nightmarish creature leaps at him, knocking his gun to the floor. Michael hits the ground hard as Matilda's father, a sizable man, comes crashing down on him. Interior, decrepit room, continuous. Kersh's attention is drawn away from Matilda as Michael shakes violently in his chair.
No, no, no.
Kersh rushes to Michael. He wraps an arm around his chest, attempting to restrain the outburst. With his spare hand, he checks his wristwatch. It reads 1 minute, 56 seconds.
Come on.
Interior, Matilda's bedroom, continuous. Amid the struggle, Michael is able to get a leg between himself and the monster atop him. He kicks hard, sending Matilda's father flying back against a closet. Michael stumbles to his feet and moves for the handgun that sits by the doorway. 2 fingers grasp at it before thump. Matilda's father tackles him from behind. Interior hallway, continuous. The impact sends both men halfway down the hall. The monster flips Michael onto his back. 2 meaty hands wrap tight around Michael's throat, suffocating him as he fights a losing battle. Interior, decrepit room, continuous. Matilda's body shakes violently, her hands contorting as they fight their restraints. Kersh watches her helplessly, still restraining Michael. He raises his watch again. 2 minutes, 21 seconds. Interior hallway, continuous. Michael's face loses color as the life is drained from him. His grip weakens. He looks upon the monster. Oil-stained teeth clenched tight as two black, soulless eyes watch the last traces of life leave Michael's. Michael's hands give up the struggle. Falling to either side of him, fingers touch something. A long shard of broken glass that had shattered from one of the frames earlier. Michael summons the last ounce of strength. Clutching the glass shard tight, he thrusts it deep into his attacker's neck. Matilda's father falls to his side in agony. Michael gasps for air, coughing violently. A smear of blood from his wounded hand paints the hallway floor as he crawls to the gun before him. Matilda watches from her room, petrified. Interior, decrepit room, continuous. Kersh looks at his watch, then to something out of shot.
No.
Interior hallway, continuous. The monster rises from the floor, with what remains of the glass shard protruding from his neck. He stumbles toward Michael. He grabs hold of one of Michael's legs, pulling him back from his weapon. But this time, he is too late. Michael spins around, gun in hand. He looks upon the bloody demon one last time. Blam! Interior, decrepit room, continuous. Michael awakes violently, gasping for air. He pulls off the sack and grabs at his neck before checking his hand. No bruises, no cuts. He rubs his eyes to remedy blurred vision. As he reorients himself, he sees Matilda resting calmly in her chair, still unconscious. Kersh stands beside her, his back to Michael.
How long?
Doesn't matter.
He removes the black sack. Her head rests peacefully to one side. Her eyes are open, but they do not see.
She's dead.
Michael stares at Matilda. Unblinking eyes stare back. Gone. Kersh kneels beside her, his back to Michael, unable to face him, nor the consequences of their actions. A single line of blood leaks from Matilda's nose, the dark red made more distinct against the surface of her cold, colorless face. Kersh nods to himself, as if resolving some internal debate. He rises from the floor, takes a set of keys from the table, and exits the room. Michael doesn't react. He sits in silence, lost in the eyes of the lifeless girl. Exterior, abandoned warehouse, continuous. Kersh walks out to the curb, away from the sight behind him, now revealed to be an old, decrepit warehouse. He stops at the street, takes his breath, and checks his surroundings. Nothing but a non-operational bus stop and a red sedan parked for the night. Kersh keels over and vomits, the enormity of his situation weighing down on him. Interior, red sedan, continuous. Cloaked in darkness, the shrouded figure of a man watches through the windshield as Kersh recomposes himself and heads back towards a small abandoned warehouse. Through the rearview mirror, we see two dark blue eyes follow Kersh until he disappears from sight. Julian. Interior, silver Ford Taurus, night. Detective Eleanor Green, 32, slows her vehicle. Bloodshot eyes illuminated by flashing red and blue light as she approaches the crime scene. She pulls up. Blonde hair held back in a messy bun, a pretty face and small frame. She yawns, takes an emergency swig of instant coffee, and exit. Exterior, homicide investigation scene, continuous. Green stands beside Detective Emmett Maltov, late 60s, a gray beard, large build, and even larger stomach. The pair silently observe the body before them. Oscar's corpse rests in a pool of blood from a bullet wound to the head.
Execution style, both of them.
Her attention turns to the body by the doorway. Samuel is marked by the same fatal infliction.
This one suffered first, though.
She observes the shot to Oscar's knee. Familiar with death, Green's attention quickly moves to the instruments that surround her. Tripods mounting tungsten lights, speakers, wires.
I'm narcotics, Molly. I see bodies, but I don't see drugs.
Don't call me Molly.
Molotov grabs an evidence bag and hands it to Green. She holds it up, surveying the small liquid vial within it, its transparent contact marked by a label that reads, ibenzadrine.
You're familiar with this stuff?
It's a trauma stimulant, heavy hallucinogenic,
She hands the evidence back.
highly visual, brings up trauma for those with trauma. Everyone else, pure nightmare shit. Effects last 10, 15 minutes. Not popular with addicts or gangbangers. It's addictive, but there isn't a big market for mindfucks like this.
Molotov nods, already aware of this information.
Expensive for that reason too. College kids seem to be the most frequent users. Testing their limits, I guess. A couple have died from overdoses, a couple more from killing each other. Hallucinations gone bad.
Green's attention moves toward a small bunch of cable ties sitting on a nearby table between two chairs.
You know what all this is?
Heard of it. Never seen it.
Last time I saw this was '06. Two curious kids got hold of the right equipment. Got a troubled guy in... One of the kids had a heart attack. The client had internal bleeding of the brain. They fried him. The other kid was still there in shock. 15 years. Necked himself 6 weeks in.
Bleak. But I'm still not understanding how any of this pertains to me being here. This is a homicide case.
Molotov draws a pen from his jacket, kneels down in front of Oscar's corpse. Green moves in beside him. He points to a small red ink symbol, roughly scribbled onto the tiles. A line of blood seeps through it from a crevice. It is a cartoon-like smiling face with two devil horns and a winking eye.
Gang insignia.
The bastard boy's M.O. You think they're responsible?
Molotov shrugs, rising to his feet.
Bastard boys stopped marking their work years ago. Could be a rival trying to stir the pot. Could be them. I hope not. Either way, this was organized. Two masked men shot our witness.
Witness?
Lady lost in the back street. Startled them on their way out. Guy in a blue Mexican sugar mask takes a shot at her. The other guy knocks him out for it.
Strange.
Yeah. Drags his buddy with one hand, holds a metal box in the other.
A sink box?
You have done your research. A sink box is the key instrument to these experiments. It's a different age, Al. Kids these days, they have an infinite access to information and infinite appetite for it. They're curious, ambitious. These two were university students. We've ID'd them. Maybe just a couple of curious kids who made a big mistake. But the execution-style killings, the gang insignia, now the missing sink box. I've got a real bad feeling about this. If criminal organizations are getting involved with this stuff, making a business of it, we aren't ready for it.
What do you need from me?
You've got an incredible mind for narcotic rings, identifying their patterns and behavior. This here, if we don't cut the head early, it could grow into a whole new beast. A beast we don't even have the resources or experience to handle. I want to know who did this, how these kids were involved, and where the box is.
I'll get a warrant for the clubhouse.
If this was their work, they're not going to take their tools back to the shed.
Most likely not. Still, it'll give me a chance to have a little chat, see what I can get out of them.
Green lingers on the corpse before her, deep thought.
What university did these two attend? I'll need to speak with their peers.
UCLA.
Really?
That means something to you?
My nephew Michael goes there too.
Fade up credits. The end.